guys, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy X-2. Last time we made our way through, well, up to cloister level 40, so we're going to go to the deepest one that we've reached. We've got a boss to fight on every 20th floor, so let's go over the setup. I'm going to show this boss fight a couple of times. I tried a couple of different strategies, and the one that I like the most, let's see here. Nope. There we go. If the black elemental that we're about to fight is not oversold for you, you don't need this, but that's just one option there. Yeah, that's pretty much the only setup you need. Crystal Banjal and the Invincible. Without an oversoul, all you need is the Crystal Banjal. Just have over, I think it's 5,000 HP, because the ability that we're going to use is based on your maximum HP, your current HP, or something like that anyway. When he oversouls, he loses the ability to cast Flare, which is nice. Charon. So yeah, he's just going to cast lots of spells, and they're going to do a lot of damage. Counter with Mega Potion. And as soon as you use Chair and the battle's over, we win! Yay! But Yuna's gone. This is how I beat him in my test run, because he was pissing me off and I couldn't beat the damn guy. So that's one way of doing things. Okay, we're back, and I have a completely different setup for a less cheap method, let's say. Higher power garment grid, you get this from the Amazing Chocobo quest. If you haven't done that, this strategy doesn't really work, but you can still use it. It's just not going to be as safe for you. You're going to start with an Alchemist, Sprint Shoes, Crystal Banjal. I'm basically assuming you don't have access to Creature Creator for some of the strategies I'm trying to employ, just to help more people with this without having to do a whole crap ton of grinding or farming like I've done by doing Creature Creator. You're on Psychic, Kaiser Knuckles. I think you would have one of these normally. Crystal Banjal, Champion Belt, because I don't think you would normally have two pairs of Kaiser Knuckles. Just something to increase your damage. Higher power garment grid. We just have the Alchemist and the Psychic on there. That's all we should need for this strategy. Yuna's set to go first, and we should be able to set things up somewhat quickly here. I'm going to want to get my attacks off really quickly here. So we got Potion, and where is it? Mana Tonic. And then what we're doing here is we're going to switch. So you're prepared for now. You're going to take a lot of damage from that. So start using the Potion here. So Mega Cocktail is going to increase our maximum HP. And then Potion. Damn, that was the one thing I didn't want to happen, because that kind of screws up the whole strategy. Let's try this again here with an X-2. Yeah, so you've lost. Well, there goes the battle. Basically, this involves trying not to get hit by Ultima, because it's going to guarantee to do that much damage every time. So the only way to beat it is with break HP limit. And so basically the strategy is don't get hit by Ultima while you're setting up, and maybe we're going to need a little more magic defense for the Alchemist. Let's try that again. Basically, when it comes to boss strategies for this game, I'm typically figuring them out just before I start recording, because I've found that in my test run, I didn't really need a lot of strategy, and if I did, I found one that worked and I didn't try anything else. And I figure it's more interesting to show off different amounts of strategy. Holy crap, you have no magic defense. Let's give you something else. You may not have all the Crystal Banjals, but you can at least access those without anything else. So let's give you that, because I think that'll be better than giving you any additional magic defense, since it's so low at this point. It's basically laughable. So we'll do that instead. So no Crystal Banjal for no first initiative thing. I could put you on a different garment grid that has it, but I need the double experience or the double HP in order to survive. Basically, The whole plan is to get things set up so that I can survive. Once I survive, then we're fine. And I guess the first thing I would want to set up is... This time we'll go at a different route. We'll do it with the Chocobo Wing. And I'm going to leave you there, and I'm going to do Potion. So that's going to set up Reflect. The next thing I'll do then is we'll set up the Mana Tonic. We'll do that. Doesn't help if he uses Ultima. The thing is, this battle is a crapshoot, and if he uses Ultima, you're just shit out of luck. Let's try that again. Mix. Potion. Would you stop going in directions when I'm only telling you to do one thing? And then you can switch. Alright, so as long as I get my other thing off in time, we could be okay here. So there's Final Wall. Protected against everything except for Ultima. So there we go. So let's see here. Mana Tonic. And then you can switch there. And then you can switch back. And then you can switch back. And then you're already good. And then item, once we've got everybody. Pain hasn't switched yet. Where's Pain? Pain. No, hold up. Pain should have switched. What's going on here? There we go. So now everyone's switched. So as long as we get that Mega Elixir off, then basically we're just going to use... Oh, why are you over there? Okay, so I think everyone's set up, so then we're just going to spam Mazer Eye. And that's the way we're going to take him down. Unfortunately, that does not do a lot of damage. You could try something like Psych Bomb if you wanted. But this way, we're protected against everything except for his Ultima attack. But at least when he does Ultima, we can counter by healing. Just, I would keep somebody... Okay, Psych Bomb does way more damage. Okay, we'll use Psych Bomb. Alright. Just make sure you keep somebody on standby to throw a Mega Elixir out if you need it. Because as you saw before, he can use Ultima 2 times in a row. There we go. Using strategies that... I guess I should turn timer back on, but using strategies that we probably should have access to, even if we don't have the really super powerful things like Mascot yet. It's nice to be able to show something like that off. And this treasure chest, I think in the international version was moved. I think in the original it was on floor 20. Don't quote me on that one, but I think so. We get a Moon Bracer, a Shining Bracer, a Speed Bracer, a Recovery Bracer, and the god item that was nerfed so bad that it's almost useless, Catnip. I've talked about Catnip before. Catnip, in the original version of the game, was so broken. SOS question mark basically means if you're in critical HP, every action you take does 9,999 damage. So, Mega Potion, 9,999 damage on everybody. Normal attack, 9,999 damage. Trigger Happy, 9,999 damage each shot. And you're going to get more than 10 shots off at max level on that thing because it is really, really good. In the international version, it has Auto Slow and Auto Berserk. They basically broke the cheat method for taking care of everything. So, since you can only use normal attacks, the only class this is really useful on is the Thief, because the Thief only gets 2 attacks instead of 1. But still, you're an auto slow, so you have to equip a Speed Bracer in combination so you have auto haste. Now, auto haste, as I said in the last episode, doesn't increase your ATB speed. However, it will counteract auto slow, which does decrease your ATB speed. I know, it's really stupid. But basically, in the strategy that I have, it's not particularly useful. You could use it in certain battles if you wanted to, but for the most part, I'm going to stay away from it. if you wanted to in like a normal battle, like just the normal enemies, it will help you with the normal fights. Equip a thief with this and, you know, have the other two characters something with high defense, like say Dark Knights or Mascots, and then, you know, this one will do most of the damage, and, you know, still dealing 20,000 damage in one round is still a lot of damage. It's just not so great when it comes to some of the super bosses, which have a lot of HP. We'll get into that when we get there. Anyway, I'm going to reset up all my stuff here during this transition to the next floor. And yeah. Okay, we're back. And even though it didn't show it because I had to cut there, this is the 41st floor. There are no enemies on this floor that I need to personally see oversold, since I've already seen them all oversold. Some of them you may need to see, like if you hadn't encountered them in oversold during the course of the game, or you have different enemies at in the creature creator than I did, but that's entirely up to you. If you don't, we can turn off encounters. I don't need to run into anybody else until we reach floor number 44, and at that point we will turn encounters back on. In the meantime, we'll just run through the rest of this area, and I don't know. I'd like to actually talk about Creature Creator, because in my test run I basically did nothing with it, and I know I've kind of touched on this before, but I find it's really interesting. You know, compared to I made the comparison to Pokemon before, where I thought, so there's the Megatonberry. Now there's a different strategy. I compared it to, yeah, there we go. You go all the way down this way, and then we can completely bypass the Megatonberry. And I believe at the end of this, there's a regular Tonberry that we have to fight, but we get to bypass the Mega variety altogether. So yeah, that's very, very nice. But yeah, I just find, compared to like Pokemon is the other example that just kind of comes to my head, where I think it's like, oh, they had the battle arena where you fight using AI. But in this case, I just think it's, oh, right. So we got to go up here. Alright, so drop down here. Be careful. You have to jump on the bottom platform over here to activate the thing. Then we go back. But you don't have to fight the Megatonberry. He's rare this side of level 50, but anyway. Back here is what? Does that take me back to the previous floor? Oh, that does this one. Okay. That's, I guess, the warp around. So let's go over here, because this is where we would have come normally. I do want to at least show off the normal way of doing the floor. So yeah, this is where we started. So yeah, this one's pretty straightforward, but there is that little trick there if you want to do that. I don't think there's any reason to ever come down here. Oh, is this the one we want to come down this time? I never remember which one. Oh, this is the one where you can go either of the different ways, right? Yeah, you could go either of the different ways. It didn't matter. And then you go this way. And then this time I think you have to go... Yeah, you have to go this way. That one just leads to a dead end. And this one over here leads forward. There is a variant like this, I think, that ends up having a... oh, what is it? Like an Elder Drake or something like that you'll have to deal with. So we've reached 44. Now we can run into some new enemies. So let's make sure we do that. But yeah, Creature Creator is just, it's a lot of fun if you're just playing it by itself.
Give me an R! Give me a break.
What I think, unfortunately, that it does when you add it to a game like Final Fantasy X-2 that was already pretty easy as is it breaks the game even further. Like, it's easier to level grind, it's easier to AP grind, it's easier to do pretty much anything you would need to do, and I don't think it adds anything to the game itself. The minigame as it is fun though, and so I think it would have done better as a standalone thing. So we don't need to fight you. We're looking for an enemy. I'm not exactly sure what type of enemy it is. I'm guessing something to do with water, considering its name. That's not it. But yeah, that's just kind of how I see Creature Creator. I'd be interested to see any other people who have put far more time than they probably should have into Final Fantasy X-2 and have played a lot of Creature Creator, what their thoughts are on it. Just because, you know, I haven't, like I've talked to, you know, I've trolled a couple of forums, and not actually trolled, but, you know, ran through and took a look at and see what other people are saying about it, and see if there was anything interesting that I could learn from their points of view. And this, okay, so this one, you can't tell which path it is. Do I go on these? I think you just go to the one that's set up properly.
Well, well.
We've got some Machina here that I don't need to fight anymore. So we're just gonna... Did I attack one of them? Probably. Oh well. Let's get out of here. We don't need to fight anybody. I think my level should be good enough for anything I need. There are variants of this thing where you have to step on one of those, and variants where you don't. So I think this one we're just taking the path that's there. But I'm going to double check anyway, just so that I can be sure. And my team is getting squashed. They were down 20 in the first quarter. Now they're down 27. Okay, so we don't have to go and do anything here. We just go down the one path. That's fine. Aqualia. That's... I was thinking it was a water-based fiend. But no, it's not. That's the one I needed to oversoul, so that's good. That's all we need to see until the 47th floor. So we can turn off encounters again, and we can move right on along. Yeah, my team's getting squashed. There are variants where you'll see a Mega Toneberry on one of these. In fact, we may see it again before too long. I'm going to go double check all these, because I swear there was always something I could do with one of those platforms. But it might just be the one where all you have to do is go forward. Yeah, it's the one where you just have to go forward. Okay, fine. But yeah, sometimes there will be a Mega Toneberry in some of these hallways, so be careful. Let's see here. Ah, when you see the little guy, that's the right way to go. So let's go double check over here. I don't think there's anything else we can do here. No. Air the ball out, come on! Well, that sucked. Okay, never mind. So yeah, there's just the... I don't know how she does that, but she, like, jumps twice. If you ever see the little Toneberry here with his little buddy, talk to him. If I can. And you'll get a random item. I'm not sure what happens if you go up here. I'm guessing there's just a little more of the dungeon, but this is the right way to go forward. So there's that. So we'll take the shortcut here since we know about it. Not much of a shortcut, but it's a shortcut. And then for some reason, part of muscle memory, I always take the upper path. Maybe that's why I was thinking that there was supposed to be a path that you had to take, just because I always took the upper path. It always seemed easier. I don't know. If I'm doing it consistently instead of trying to remember which stage of the process I'm in, it's easier to keep going on with it, even if it is still somewhat tedious. Speaking of tedious, this area, it's very tedious. 47, we can run into enemies now. Cool. We have 3 different enemies we can run into now, so that's good. Oh, yeah, so this one will be the one with the Mega Toneberry up here. Yeah, so we just need to go down, and that's how we bypass that. But yeah, the area here is extremely tedious. The Flailing Ochu is another one that I needed to encounter. So we got that one off the list. 2 more left to go. I'm not sure why they decided that putting a 100 floor randomly generated dungeon in there that was required for 100% was a good idea. It really isn't. It forces you to, basically, if you're fighting all the enemies, it forces you to level up to max before you're able to actually, you know, finish the main plot of the game. And I just don't think that's a good idea. Like, I'm already far more over-leveled than I need to be. The final boss of the game is really not that hard. He's only got 20,000 HP. You know, they give you, the catnip ability in here. You can use that catnip ability to one-shot or very quickly take down pretty much any storyline battle in the rest of the game. So there's no real challenge left after you do that. It's one of the reasons I'm trying to run into battles in midair. Hey, there he is! Yay! I didn't realize you could encounter him on this floor. 3,000 Neil special. Well, I'm out of here. I'm not sure why that only did 1,000. I would have expected it to do more, but... Anyway, so there's the Cactuar. He wasn't even on my list. Oh no, he was on my list. He was on my list for the next set of floors. Oh well, that's fine. But yeah, it's extremely tedious this way. If you had done it in a different way, it wouldn't have been so bad. Like, oops, no. But like in, say, Final or Star Ocean Till the End of Time, they put it in there. Here's Ultimate Weapon, another one that I would like to see Oversoul. But if you wanted to do it, like, make it a bonus dungeon like they did in that game and fill it with really powerful enemies. They do that here, but they do it before the end of the game, not after. So, I don't know, it just seems that it's not as fun that way, and it kind of breaks the rest of the game. It's this way. Nope. I'm not sure. It might be random which direction this is in, and you're doing your stupid double jump thing again, aren't you? I already set up Omega because I could encounter him in the Creature Creator. You can also encounter Ultima there, but you need to unlock something else first that I didn't unlock. Be very careful with that transition because, like I said, sometimes there's going to be a Megatoneberry there, and that's a bad time. Especially if you're not prepared for it. Later on, I will be set up and be prepared for Megatoneberries at pretty much any time. But for now... I don't think so. Needles! Go away, Needles! Alright, one more guy. Let's go up here. And we should get another item from the Cactuar, I believe. Oh, I think I'm supposed to... Yeah! There's the other one. Barong. However you pronounce that guy's name. He's one of the blade-type enemies, which seemed to be one of the ones I couldn't find a lot of in Creature Creator. So there's that, I guess. So what do you have for me today, buddy? He can give you... Yeah, Turbo Ethers, I think, is typically what I get from him, but it's a lot better than a potion. So 49... I don't need to run into any more battles for one floor. Cool. And there's that Toneberry again. So yeah, in my first playthrough of the game, years and years and years ago on the original, I basically got to this point where I kept running into these Megatoneberries, and I didn't know there was a path around them. And that basically stopped me from even bothering to care about the game, because it's like, well, shit. There's these enemies that I can't possibly beat. They one-shot all my characters. I can't run away from the damn guys, and I don't think you can. You can't run away from the little guys anyway. But, and they're ridiculously powerful. I have no idea how to do this. It's random. I'm tired of, you know, resetting and having to save every 2 floors. It's just not worth my time here. So I just basically said, abandoned the whole thing. Had catnip, didn't know how to use it. It says SOS question mark. How am I supposed to know what the hell that thing does? I wasn't using a walkthrough the first time. With a walkthrough, it's a lot easier to manage, and it makes a lot more sense. Now we need to run into... Actually, one more enemy, one more enemy for the next, I think, 10 floors, so Should be pretty easy. Hopefully we find them. If you need any items, you can bribe the enemies around here if you want to. There are some items that you may want to get some if you're not doing Creature Creator. Rabbite's Foot you can get from Jumbo Cactuar, which is encounterable around here. What else can you get around here? There are some other things that you may want to look out for, like the best guys to fight for experience or AP or something like that. It's entirely up to you, depending on what you want to do. The best way to level up, as far as I'm aware, is to use Creature Creator, and the best way to gain AP is to use Creature Creator. But if you're not using it, you may be interested in some of the enemies around here. I don't remember which ones were all that great. One other thing. The Math Dungeon. I never actually, I don't think I ran into any enemies in there. All of the enemies you encounter in there are all Machina-based enemies. So there is a strategy where you set up your creatures, if you have them, or you have, say, some berserked characters, and you set up your... Is that the guy I need? Yay! The King Takoba, however you pronounce that guy's name. I needed to run into him. Now I don't need to run into any more enemies. Not until we get to the next boss floor there, so get rid of all those. Okay, so we'll go and hit these. But yeah, what was I talking about again? I was talking about something. Enemies, things. What was I talking about again? My brain just stops working. No, don't fucking do that stupid goddamn camera changing angle bullshit. Okay. Okay, just took a short little break there so that I could figure out what the hell I was talking about, because I completely forgot there. But yeah, I was talking about that Math Dungeon. So yeah, if you want to, there is a way of automatically gaining levels and AP. It's basically set your characters up and set up something that has rapid fire on your controller, whether you're using, macros on the keyboard or whatever you want to do in order to do it, and then go into that Math Dungeon and basically run into the wall and either turn on that for more encounters or use a lure bracer, and then set everybody else up with, if you're using your characters anyway. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Set everybody up on your cursor with memory and use Mug every time, because Mug will give you AP regardless of whether you steal or not, as long as you deal some damage. So you set your characters up to Mug and have triple experience, have AP eggs on if you have access to them, and then just run into the corner, and you'll just keep running into battles over and over and over again. Again, if you're using your Creature Creator and your creatures and trying to level them up, you can do the same with them, except for you don't need to input commands for them on battle. So just, use your controller and tape your joystick in one direction and rapid fire on your action button, and you're pretty much good to go there. It'll level up for you if you want to. It doesn't take that long to do it in the Creature Creator, and you can basically set it up the same way there as well. That way you wouldn't have to set the directional button. You would just need to set the X button or A button, depending on what kind of controller you're using, and then set it up so that you have rapid fire on. I was trying to figure out a good rapid fire solution for when I was doing it, but for whatever reason, Joy to Key wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, and I don't know. It wasn't working for me, so I said the hell with it, and I just tapped the button while watching a movie. I think that was when I was leveling up the Heavy Soleil. Is it Soleil or is it supposed to be Salet? I don't know. Do we get something new yet? No, we've already seen this one. Oh well. But yeah, that's sad to say that is pretty much the end of the game. The only thing we have left to do in this game is get up there. Is fight through the game's super bosses and then finish up the main story, which is laughably easy at this point in the game. you have access to so many good, powerful abilities that the end game becomes as much of a joke as the early part of the game was. So there's a very fine line between, you know, where there would be a challenge in this game. And that's what I find is kind of the worst part of it, because it's got a battle system that's unique and interesting, but the difficulty is so low that they put all this effort into it and it's unnecessary. And that's really unfortunate, because I really wish there would be more to do with the battle system, because I think the idea is really good. It's just the execution is... Whoa! That actually scared me. I forgot he was there. And I can't run away from him. Let's see here. That actually scared me. Wow. I forgot he was there. And this is another part of the bullshit factor when you're running in here without autosaves, because I can just reload and autosave and I'm fine. And I don't think... There's only one enemy, I'm not sure what it is. But you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. I'm Can I don't think there's a way for me to get out of here other than letting him kill me. So I'm gonna let him kill me. I'm gonna load my autosave, and when you're running through that area now, even though it looks exactly the same, there is now a giant dragon at the end that's going to kill you. So, yeah, I will get that loaded back up using the autosave. If not, I could kill him now. It wouldn't be that hard. As you can see, I can easily keep up with the amount of damage he's dealing. Wow, except for that fire attack. But, yeah, scary. Get a genuine reaction from me. A lot of the time I have to, you know, it's like, okay, I'm talking coy about the plot. I know, obviously, what's going to happen in the plot. But, yeah, it's... There are definitely some times where I can... There's not as many times as I wish there were where I can react normally, you know, where I actually would the first time around. There's a lot of times where I'm playing the game in my test runs and I can see that, yeah, you can sneak by him there. Just be prepared. The game is not fair. But yeah, there are definitely times in my test runs where I'll think of something. It's, oh, I write that down because I want to be able to at least mention that when we get to that point. When I am actually doing the LP. But nothing can really beat your initial reactions to stuff like that. But I don't know. The way that I do a test run involves me playing sometimes for 20 minutes and then doing research, you know, looking at guides for 20 minutes. So I don't think it's a strategy that works really well for something like a live stream or anything like that. So unfortunately, I don't have any plans on like setting up a live stream, you know, for me testing out games or anything like that. Not right now anyway. It's just because of that's kind of how I play. I'm just so used to, especially with a test run. If it's not a test run, like with Tales of Berseria, I've checked guides for a couple of things, mainly just to kind of understand how certain mechanics work. But for the most part, I've stayed away from, you know, looking up, you know, how to beat this boss or what's going to happen in the story or anything like that, because for the most part, I haven't really needed to. Just need to understand how the game actually works first. The tutorials in that one are not so great. But yeah, you definitely have to be careful around here. Now that we've reached above level 50, you're going to want to double check and hit save points more often than not. I'm kind of lazy when it comes to that. I don't want to go and save all the time, so I just use the autosave feature. But anyway. We will be fighting the Elder Drakes before too long. I do want to at least demonstrate that, but just because they're kind of a notable enemy. Yeah, there should be probably another one at the end of this one as well, just to make our lives more difficult. And that's pretty much all there is to do on these 20 floors. It seems it takes me about, you know, a regular episode's length or even longer to finish up 20 floors at a time. So I guess next time we will face the boss on this floor, and then we will move on and do the next 20 floors. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's all for this one, and I'll see you guys next time.